Red Dead Redemption 2's online mode, Red Dead Online, is set to release within this month, the month of November, and if we go off of the formula that Rockstar used for GTA 5, we could expect it to release as early as this Friday. If you aren't aware, there's a lot of controversy surrounding the multiplayer experience because of the state of GTA Online right now. Rockstar already said that they wouldn't do anything that would defy the current time period of Red Dead, meaning that they wouldn't add all sorts of, crazy nonsense. But then, isn't that kind of what they promised for GTA 5? GTA Online now has all sorts of wacky and unbelievable DLC that just seems to keep pushing the bar higher and higher. It went from simple things like the Beach Bum update, which was just essentially a clothing update, and it wasn't much further from what you would expect from a DLC, but a few years down the line, and now the online mode has things like flying cars, jetpacks, Tron bikes, and just all sorts of ridiculous futuristic weapons, and really it's kind of gotten out of hand, and for me personally, I don't really care, but I can see a lot of people having issues with something like that, especially if it influences the way Red Dead Online will be, which is the main concern of this video. I want to address sort of the controversy that surrounds this game. And like I said, Rockstar already said they won't be doing anything absurd or out of this world, and instead they'll be sticking to what they think makes Red Dead so good. And that's more of an immersive sort of slower change of pace to things, and by all means that is completely acceptable because that is literally what Red Dead is all about. It's literally set in the late 1800s to early 1900s. The only problem here is that it can become a problem for Rockstar because they could start losing players if they aren't consistently dropping just all sorts of cool DLC for us to look out for in the future, and it genuinely is a concern for them. I have no doubt about this. They've already said that they don't expect to churn out the numbers that GTA did simply because of the setting. But knowing Rockstar's track record of pushing things to bigger and bigger heights each time with a new DLC, I just don't see them being faithful to their word. The whole goal of Rockstar is for them to consistently pull huge numbers, meaning players and most importantly profits. If the profit margins aren't reached, that means that the higher ups over at Rockstar, the ones with the suit and ties, aren't reaching their goals that they projected, meaning that they aren't doing their jobs. And the whole point of having a job like that is to consistently be pulling in huge numbers. Obviously, there's a lot more to that, and I'm sure that they want to keep quality in mind over quantity. But at the end of the day, that's just the way things are, and if you need proof, just look at what happened with GTA 5. Everyone wanted a story DLC, and it just never came out, simply because the online mode was just making billions and billions of dollars. Granted, I'm sure that GTA 5's story DLC would make a load of money too, but it just wouldn't make as much as the online mode would, so they would, they decided to put all their time and resources into a single pool. Now, with all that in mind, I'm sure you are just as speculative as me for the future of Red Dead Online, but how long will it be before we start seeing things that are a bit iffy as DLC? All it takes is a slight decline in players and people not buying their shark cards before the next thing you know, suddenly there's a car in the game. Now, yes, there were cars in that time period around the year of 1900, and yes, there were cars in Red Dead Redemption 1, but there was only so many variants of the T-Model Ford you could get, so if this was a DLC, everyone would basically be driving the same car, and it would get a bit ridiculous if the whole lobby was just driving cars around when the DLC dropped. There was even old motorcycles around that time that they could implement into the DLC, and of course, this is all still within the realms of reality for a Rockstar to implement into the game. The problem starts when these motorcycles or cars start flying. Of course, I don't see that happening, but again, you literally never know with Rockstar. They're going to do anything in their power to ensure that people keep coming back and playing their game, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a Time Machine DLC a couple of years down the line when the game becomes a bit stagnant in player count. Just something like that, something completely absurd. I don't know. If you go to the last video I made, I talk about how instead of them making DLCs to exaggerate the sort of the technological side of things, they could be making more DLCs that revolve around legendary creatures and all sorts of like paranormal stuff, because it wouldn't be anything new. Red Dead Redemption 1's Undead Nightmare DLC was completely off the rails and went as far as having a unicorn that shot rainbows out of its ass. I wouldn't be surprised if they used this gimmick to draw us into playing more instead of what made GTA Online so replayable. I mean, they could release something like a werewolf DLC, and then you could have to go out and hunt the legendary creature with your buddies online. Obviously, this wouldn't be that crazy, and I think that the majority of the community would accept this sort of a thing, because the game itself right now has plenty of Easter eggs that show the paranormal side of things. So I don't think it would be that out of place for the online mode to have all this sort of paranormal stuff. So again, if we start seeing cars and motorcycles, you know that that's where the line needs to be drawn. Anything further than that is just ridiculous. Obviously, there's a lot more they could implement, like new boats, new trains, and even hot air balloons, which, if you didn't know, is something in the game already. So plenty of stuff they can do here, and you know what we don't want is anything past that. It would just get absurd. Anyways, that's it, guys. Let me know what you think about this down in the comment section below. Do you think there might be paranormal DLC, like, I don't know, zombies or werewolves or the creature from the Black Lagoon, something like that? I don't know. I'm just hoping there isn't anything that completely derails what makes Red Dead so special and the time period that it's set in. Other than that, that's going to be it. Please leave a rating, please subscribe, and have a wonderful day. See you in the next one.